there are a great many regimes around the world which need to go. But the important issue for Britain's national security is the framework set out after the end of the First World War to minimize the chances of the law of the jungle taking over from international law should be preserved. I'm afraid...
What is going on, everybody? Oscar here. Listen, we talk a lot about the MAGA infection here in the States, but today I want to show you exactly how that same right-wing rot is trying to poison the waters across the pond. We've got an absolute masterclass to look at today. Former British ambassador to Iran, Sir Richard Dalton, goes on LBC radio and completely dismantles a right-wing host named Nick Ferrari. Ferrari is out here desperately trying to make Prime Minister Keir Starmer look weak for not jumping headfirst into a mindless war, just reading straight from the global MAGA playbook. But Ambassador Dalton wasn't having a single second of this clown's bad faith nonsense. He just calmly and factually destroys the entire warmongering narrative. Before we watch this brutal takedown, do me a huge favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and drop a comment below letting me know if you think these right-wing media tactics are getting more desperate by the day. Alright, let's get right into it.
Widespread criticism of Sir Keir Starmer in many of the newspapers' editorials this morning. Sir Richard, how fair is that criticism in your view? Good morning.
It's unfair. There was a verbal negotiation which the Israelis and the United States aborted. Secondly, we've caught the Americans on the raw at a time when they're having great difficulty domestically with justifying this war. There is no majority in the United States for this war. There was clear indications from leaders of Congress after the briefing a few days before it was launched that there was no reason shown to them why there was a case for compelling reasons for the United States to go to war at this time. They're now soft-pedaling their regime change justification. They are now preparing their people for a long period of war against what the American people had a hope to expect. So when Britain confirms the position taken by France, Germany, and itself and all our other European partners not to participate in the opening strikes, this is a difficult moment for the Americans, and they're lashing out against us, and we should not be unduly impressed by it. We should stick to a course which is in accordance with international law, while at the same time assisting the United States. That is, in brief, what Prime Minister Starmer is doing.
So when it comes to defending UK citizens in the region, we don't even do it ourselves?
We are doing it.
We're not, Sir Richard.
Assisting.
We're allowing US aircraft to do it.
We're actively assisting the United States in trying to destroy the Iranian missiles which are raining down on.
But we didn't
the
even
Gulf
defend
states.
our own base in Cyprus, Sir Richard. We left that to the Americans as well. I mean, how impotent should the United Kingdom look in your view?
We're not looking impotent in the slightest. That was one small drone
which we didn't defend.
Launched by Hezbollah, and active steps were taken subsequently against the two drones that were directed at Akrotiri, which were successful. So we also have British planes in the skies assisting our partners in the Gulf to defend themselves against Iranian missiles. So the imputation that the UK is being weak is wrong.
When it comes to the Ayatollah and the now dead Ayatollah, what is it that gives you confidence that negotiations could have proceeded and come to fruition?
The clear statements by the Omani foreign minister who was mediating, and my own knowledge of the points which the Iranians were prepared to concede. These negotiations take time. Before they were aborted by Israel and the United States, many people pleaded for the United States to treat them seriously, but plainly they did not.
But what is it you admire most about the former Ayatollah's regime then?
What a daft question.
Why is that a daft question?
I haven't indicated any admiration for the Ayatollah regime.
My understanding, and you'll be closer to it than I.
Why would you,
my
as a senior
understanding is, and you'll be closer to ISA, Richard, there were people being killed.
Would you suggest that that's what
Because if you let me answer, my understanding, and you're closer to it than I, is this is a regime that was killing certainly possibly 5,000, possibly 35,000 of his own people, and imprisoning thousands more. It was a regime that I would have thought needed to go. So I'm asking, what possibly could it be that you admired in that regime?
There are a great many regimes around the world which need to go. But the important issue for Britain's national security is the framework set out after the end of the First World War to minimize the chances of the law of the jungle taking over from international law should be preserved. I'm afraid that our right-wingers, including Jeremy Hunt, are forgetting the lessons of the sacrifices of 20th century generations to try and prevent the law of strong powers overwhelming the rights of nations. And as a relatively weak power, United Kingdom security is dependent long-term on re-establishing the rule of law.
But
now,
lastly,
we didn't go in with the United States on Vietnam or on Somalia.
But I just
wonder, participate in the war of choice against Yemen. It's nothing extraordinary for us to take a different position from the United States. And the people who are panicking about it are the Americans, because it's their domestic political problem, which they fear we have exacerbated.
Lastly, I wonder, Sir Richard, the rules, as you rightly point out, that were established after the First World War, with players such as President Xi, the late Ayatollah, President Putin on the world stage, are those laws still applicable? Laws that came about more than 100 years ago?
Oh, come on. 100 years ago, in the course of human history, when human nature is what it is...
But obviously we didn't have a Putin, or we didn't have an Ayatollah, or we didn't have a Xi at those times.
We have had lots of them in the past, and it is wrong for us to think that just because we face a Trump and a Putin now, the laws which are there to protect small nations should somehow be jettisoned. The absence of a plan, Starmer was right to point out that. The absence of a legal base, he was right to point out that.
Grateful for your time. Thank you very much, Sir Richard Dalton. You served as British ambassador to Iran.
I know this is an older clip from a few months back, but I needed to bring it to you today because the truth does not expire, and the playbook these right-wingers use absolutely never changes. Look at how effortlessly Ambassador Dalton exposed Nick Ferrari and that entire conservative, MAGA-aligned mindset. Ferrari tries the oldest, most intellectually bankrupt trick in the right-wing playbook. Oh, you don't want to blindly bomb a country into the Stone Age? You must love their dictator. It is such a clown argument. But Dalton doesn't flinch. He doesn't get defensive. He just slaps it down with pure facts and adult logic. This is what actual leadership and serious foreign policy look like, what Keir Starmer did in the UK, and what Democrats have to constantly navigate here at home, is refusing to be bullied by right-wing warmongers who have zero plan for the day after the missiles hit. Notice how Dalton points out that the right-wing elements in the US are panicking because their domestic justification for war is collapsing. These frauds always want a war of choice to distract from their own political failures, and they expect everyone else to just fall in line, abandon diplomacy, and clean up their mess. Let's be very clear about the facts here. The framework of international law was built over the last century to prevent strongmen from treating the globe like their personal playground. Ambassador Dalton rightly calls out the right-wingers. He names Jeremy Hunt, but he might as well be naming Donald Trump, Lindsey Graham, or any of these MAGA bootlickers, for completely forgetting the sacrifices of the 20th century. They want what Dalton brilliantly calls the law of the jungle. They want chaos, because chaos is the only environment where their brand of loud, authoritarian politics actually survives. It is absolutely infuriating when you realize these conservative media figures and politicians are actively trying to shame leaders into spilling blood just to look tough on television. They don't care about the thousands of lives that get destroyed. They don't care about the long-term security of their nations. They just want their Fox News or LBC soundbites. It's an absolute joke. They are perfectly willing to throw out 100 years of international law just to appease the fragile egos of authoritarians like Trump and Putin, while projecting their own weakness onto anyone who actually seeks a diplomatic solution. We cannot let these morons dictate the global narrative. We have to stand behind leaders who actually respect the rule of law over the rule of the jungle, and we have to relentlessly call out the media figures who act as their cheerleaders. I want to hear from you all on this. Do you think the global right wing is finally starting to lose its grip when serious adults actually push back on their lies in real time? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. And listen, if you appreciate us cutting through the right-wing noise and bringing you the receipts every single day, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you ring that notification bell. I'll see you in the next one.